happy Wednesday to each of you. I was about to say happy Monday because normally we come on Mondays. And happy New Year to each of you. This is our first year for the year. And I wanted to start the year with a bang since we're celebrating Black History Month. By the way, happy Black History Month to each of you. And tonight we're kicking off our month with a spotlight on Black theater. Black theater. And if you just tuning in and you don't know what the show is about, you're in for a treat tonight. We're talking about the show Dreamgirls, and there is a chance for you to see the show locally. Their tickets are running fast. We'll talk about that in a few moments, but I am proud to have some of the cast members on tonight. And without any delay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in, and thank you to everyone who will join us. So, without any further delay, I'm going to actually let them tell you about themselves, but I'm going to go ahead and bring them on at this time. First, joining us tonight, we have Tracy Winburn. She is portraying the role of Miss Effie White. Hey, Tracy,
Hi.
thank you for joining us.
Thank you
And
for
then,
having me.
you're welcome, absolutely. And then, if you guys would go ahead and tag and share this podcast because we're going to get into some very good dialogue tonight. We're going to talk about the show, but you're going to get a chance to learn about these local actors and actresses. Next, we have Chris Campbell. He is playing the role of Marty.
Hey, how's everyone?
Hey,
Thanks for
good.
having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. And then next, we have Jalen Kirkman. He's playing the role of Cece.
Hey, everybody. Of
Hey. Thanks for joining us.
course, thank you
And
for having me.
last but not least, we have Cameron White. He is playing the role of James Thunder Early.
What's up, people?
Good evening. Thank you for joining us, and thank you all for joining us. So, what we're gonna do tonight, I was gonna read your bios, but I'm like, no, that's not me. So what I'm gonna do, this will be our order for tonight when we ask the questions. We'll start with Tracy, then Chris, then Jalen, and we'll close out with Chris. That way we can kind of keep moving and we'll get a lot of questions in. So the first question, I want you all to tell us a little bit about yourself. You can talk about how long have you been into theater. So Tracy, we'll start with you.
Okay. So, my name is Tracy Winburn. I've been doing theater about 6 years, 6, 7 years, something like that. I don't have a theater background or anything like that. This kind of found me. I can say I've always had a love for theater, but I have a brand new respect for theater once I started acting. So, I'm still, I would say, new to the art, but I'm definitely in love with doing what I do.
All right, Chris, we'll go to you.
Hey, so I've been acting for a very long time. I started in church, school plays, drama club, specifically theater though, probably about 15 years now. And I'm from Birmingham. Went to Age Park High School. Theater was a first love of mine, and it still is a love of mine.
Awesome. All right, Jalen.
Hey, everybody. Again, my name is Jalen Kirkman, and let's see, I've been acting for around 6 or 7 years now. Of course, like Chris was saying, school programs, church programs, kind of where I started out, but I really started to get into it beginning of high school and from then on, and now I'm a musical theater major at the University of Alabama at Birmingham. I've been singing for as long as I can remember. Again, started in church, singing choir, everything like that, and it's just followed me ever since.
Okay. And Cameron.
Whoa, I had to think back. As everyone said, you do those church speeches and church plays and practice that. I did some stuff in high school. I had the pleasure of going to Alabama State and working with Dr. Tonia Stewart. So I worked with her. It's been over 20 some years. I know I've been at Red Mountain, which was Summerfest at the time. It's the first time I did something there. And it's been since 2000, 2001, I believe. So yeah, it's been like over 20 years.
And I don't know why we're unable to get the comments up, but I am going to keep trying. And if I don't, I will allow actors and actresses after the show to come on and reply to your comments. But I do want to shout out someone that is very special. She is a Summerfest Theater alum and a Redmond Theater alum. That's none other than Miss Belinda George Peoples. So shout out to her and to her and everyone that's tuning in tonight. So let's talk about the show. Dreamgirls turns 42 this year. And I know it doesn't seem like it's been that long ago when Jennifer Holiday, Loretta Devine, and Shirley Ralph and the wonderful cast just did something different on Broadway. You already had your Raisin in the Sun, your Pearly Victorious, but I think we all agree when Dreamgirls hit the spot, it brought something just different and wonderful to the theater scene. So again, we'll start in the same order. And Tracy, what I'm gonna do with you, we're gonna let you go last in this one because I we have to spend a little more time talking about Effie White, and I really want to
Okay.
get back on. So, Chris, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about your character and does he relate to you? And you can tell us a little bit about the audition process as well.
Um, so my character is Marty. For those of you that have ever seen the movie, this is Danny Glover's character. So it is the guy who is the manager or agent of Jimmy Early, who is played by Eddie Murphy in the movie. A lot of people may not know that the musical was first. A lot of people think that the movie was first, but no, the theater show was first. So anyway, Marty, he is Jimmy Early's agent. He'll do anything for Jimmy. He's a very loyal guy. He's loyal to a fault. Kind of don't want to mess with Marty though. Marty's yeah, he gets to be a little he gets to be a little high strung sometimes. Kind of, he knows it all and wants things done his way. He feels like his way is the only way to do things sometimes. So it's kind of like he has the mentality of if it's not broke, don't fix it. So he has a difficult time adapting to change. But yeah, that's what my character was. What was it? What was the other question? I'm sorry.
You can tell us a little bit about the audition process.
Oh, so I played Marty before. I played him the last time we did it in 2017. Now, as far as that process went, that was actually my first time doing a show with Red Mountain. I had been acting previous to that, but that was my first show there, and um, it was a little daunting for me when I auditioned with the executive director Keith Cromwell. Um, I sang and I acted, and he said, "Why don't I know you?" And I don't know what he meant by that, but I said, "I don't know why you don't know me, but I'm here today to audition for this role." So I got it, but yeah, it was a little daunting because a lot of people were there, and I didn't really know a lot of people. I had been in another entertainment, or I've been doing another part of entertainment for several years, so I know people in um, that avenue. But this was kind of new for me with Red Mountain. But yeah, I can honestly say that I'm glad I did it, and yeah, nothing but good things to say.
Okay. Jalen,
Um, let's see. So CC White. Oh, I love him. He is like me. He is very young, especially at the beginning of the show. He's very young and he's very ambitious and he knows what he wants and he's willing to do anything to get there. And I think the point where I guess our motives or just like who we are as people kind of start to like split is that he will kind of get there at points by any means necessary, And so like throughout, especially like the beginning, like Act One, throughout that part of the show, you kind of see his morals kind of start to go downhill a bit because you have Curtis and all these other characters kind of telling him like, I can teach you how to get to where you want to be. I can get your music heard. And that's the biggest thing that I love about Cece is that when you really break down his dream, he just wants his voice heard. He
mhm,
wants his voice heard. He wants his music heard. And I feel like now where I'm at as a young Black artist, like I see that, I respect that, but I also know, I guess, where his journey goes as far as the show, and see kind of like where I don't want mine to go. But no, yeah, he is all of those things, but then he's also like he's Effie's younger brother, and so you see bits of that same attitude and that same drive that you see from Effie throughout the show, and I think that's something that I've really been playing with throughout this process. And then the audition process. Let's see. So I wasn't introduced to Red Mountain until last year, and so I started performing there, and so that audition was I guess just a lot more following like the open call process, with just coming in and singing my song and doing the dance and everything. But this time around, because I worked there before, it was kind of just coming in for the callback process. So I already knew I was coming in for CC, and I knew I was gonna have to come in and like sing for all of them. But kind of like Chris was saying, like how the Broadway show came first and then the movie, just because of where I'm at age wise, I was introduced to the movie first. And so like I grew up with the Beyonce and the Jennifer Hudson and the Jamie Foxx and all of that. I sang Listen, and then I'm telling you in the car all the time. And so coming in to the callback process, like I was wishing and hoping and praying to even be involved in the show. And so coming in to the callback process, like I was the youngest in my group for Cece. And so like I went in and we sang Family. So anyone who's familiar with the show knows what song that is. And so we sang that portion of it. And I just remember leaving and just sitting in my car and just praying and hoping that like, please, please, please let this fall into my lap. And I guess like 2, 3 months later, here we are.
Awesome. All right, Cam. Now I'm not gonna dare ask you about your audition process because you've been in numerous plays with Red Mountain Summerfest. But tell us about your role and what can we expect to see.
Oh, um, well, my role is Jimmy Thunder Early. Um, Everybody loves that phrase of Jimmy got soul. However, he's the Jimmy Early is the avenue that the Dreamettes gets exposed and seen and their growth through it into the industry, along with his partner in crime, Marty, and manager. Um, it's one particular part in the show where Marty tells Jimmy, don't can't you see he's using you? And that's actually what the whole process was for Jimmy. Jimmy was an avenue for Curtis to get his dream, which was to break into the industry, to have this group, and ultimately get his wife and have his way and be successful at it. My particular role, as I said, I was the vehicle. They became Jimmy Early's background singers, and not only his background singers, then it became a love interest with Laurel, and then you had the ups and downs with that. So Jimmy Early is the vehicle in which the Dreamettes and the Dream Girls become not only Dream Girls but Dream Women in that avenue. Fun fact, though, that you stated earlier that Miss BGP is on because that was my avenue into Summerfest Red Mountain Theater. She called me up one day and was like, "Hey, you need to go audition for this show." And at that time, it was Smokey Joe's Cafe, and we're all family. And I said, okay. So she gave me the information. I called her back. I was like, well, what am I sing? She was like, go in there and sing He's on Down the Road or something. I was like, I can't just go in there and do that. So being my background, I found some stuff and went in and auditioned. And it was a rigorous process because that was actually the first year that Keith Cromwell, the executive director, was there
Mhm.
doing his first production. And the whole board was in there, and um, other sponsors and things of that nature. So it was kind of rigorous. You had to go in there, sing, riff, dance, and everything, and then wait. But it's been a great journey, I would say. Even with this cast and this process, I've thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, so what I want to do right now before we go to Tracy, we know Effie, but I want to take y'all back to the original Effie. I'm not gonna show everything because you got to leave something when you see this cast and their dynamic thing. But we can't talk about Jennifer Holliday without showing you Jennifer Holliday. So we were fortunate to get some footage from one of the original shows Not going to show you all of it, but just want to show you a snippet, and then we'll come back and speak with Tracy.
All right.
Sorry, I missed rehearsals. I'm feeling much better now.
Mr. Effie, don't try and make it.
I'll make it. Just get my dress. Where's my dress? Laurel, where's my dress?
I'm so nervous. All those heart.
Who's she?
Effie, Curtis was supposed to.
Love me. Curtis was supposed to love me.
There you are, Effie. I've been looking all over.
I turned my back and found myself out on the line. You could have warned me, but that would have been too kind.
I've been warning you since Chicago to clean up your act. You've been late, you've been mean, giving all kinds of stupid flack.
That's a lie, that's a lie. It's just I haven't been feeling that well.
Effie, please, stop excusing yourself. You've been late, you've been mean, and getting better all the time.
Now you're lying, you're lying. I've never been so thin. You're lying, cause you're sleeping with that girl who thinks she's better than everybody. She ain't better than anybody. She ain't nothing but common.
Now you listen to me, let's blame it on the world. See, I put up with you for much too long. I have put up with your bitching, I put up with your nagging, and all of your screaming too.
Stay out of this, Laurel. It's between Dina and me.
Well, it's between that two. I'm as much a part of this group as anybody else, and I'm tired. Effie, I'm tired of all the problems you're making.
I always knew you two were together. I always knew you two were ganging up on me.
Hey, now watch your tone. Don't blame it on Laurel. Now she had nothing to do with this change. It was you. You always thinking of you. All you can do is rant and rave. You think a star is a king. Wake up, baby, a star is a slave.
Wake up, baby, a star is a slave.
Stay off, Effie. Now take the money and run.
You in this with them, Cece?
Cool it, Effie. This time you know what you've done.
So they bumped you
I
behind,
said
huh?
cool it, Effie. This time you've gone too far.
I'm not feeling well. I got pain.
Effie, we all got
For
pain.
7 years I served with you. I was your sister. You were trouble. And now you're telling me it's all over.
Now we're telling you it's all over.
And now I'm telling you I ain't going.
It's all over.
I ain't going.
It's all over.
And I am telling you I'm not going. You're the best man I'll ever know.
Okay, I know y'all were like, dog, you gonna stop it there, but yeah, you know what she's singing. Just wanted to show you a little bit of the original. So to Tracy, my first question to you is when you landed the role of Effie, what kind of thoughts were going through your mind? And let me say this, if you have not seen the Broadway show, as a matter of fact, because people are texting me, let me go ahead and put the link to the tickets. If you go to this website, because I checked, hold on one second. I checked earlier today and I believe that there are only 3 days open. And on these days, if you're bringing guests, it's more than likely you and your guests won't be able to sit together. And Terry confirmed that when we talked earlier today. So if I were you and you plan on going to see the show and you don't have your tickets while you're watching this podcast, you may want to go ahead and get those tickets because this is something you don't want to miss. So Tracy, what ideas were going through your head? Because one of the things, and this is something that I always encourage my actors to do, make the character your own. You know, we've seen Jennifer Holliday, Amber Riley has portrayed Effie, Frenchie Davis has portrayed Effie. So many names, too numerous to name, have portrayed this role. What kind of ideas were going through your head to make this role your own?
Um, well, this is I'll start here. This is my second time playing the role of Effie.
Okay.
Um, and the first time, I don't think I quite understood until we were probably done with the show. Just what was going on, just wrapping my head around it. But understanding how to make the role your own, just connecting with Effie in the parts that I know. Just being a woman in this industry, being a plus size woman, being a black woman, just pulling from those things. And this role causes you to be extremely transparent. It calls you to be extremely open. You cannot play this role without letting yourself open up and just receive what's happening in the text. And so in doing that, I just kind of let it be, if that makes sense, you know?
Yes.
Um, yeah.
Tell us, how would you describe Effie? Because some critics that have had a chance to do reviews on the play, they've labeled Effie as a villain. And I've had an opportunity to see the show several times, one by a high school cast, and the first time you all did it at Red Mountain, and I've never thought she was a villain.
I don't see Effie as a villain. I see Effie as, and I want to call her a victim either, because
Mhm,
I think she's stronger than that. But I do see her dealing with her circumstances the best way that she could.
mhm.
She, had this big dream of it, like that was all that she wanted was just to sing. And it's like, if I had to picture it in my mind, hey, this is all that you know. You've been working on this your whole life, and you finally get this opportunity. And not only do you get that opportunity, you finally get a man that sees you, that's interested in the same thing you're interested in, and he is in love with you, and you're in love with him. And it's like, hey, I've got it all together, everything that I wanted, and everything was taken away. All of that was taken away from her at one time. And so, I don't see her as a villain. I see her just, as a person who lost everything. And in the end, she prevailed. In the end, she rose like a phoenix.
Right.
She got it all back, you know. So I definitely don't see her as a victim or a
And here's
villain.
right. And here's a fun fact. For those who don't know the history of the show, that's why when Broadway shows are made into movies, I always encourage people to do your research on the Broadway show first if you haven't seen it. For those who don't know, originally when Dreamgirls was written, I think they were doing like the theater actors reading even before they went into rehearsals. The role of Effie was supposed to die. So if you're watching this, it's based on the Supremes. People say it is the Supremes. We're not gonna get into that debate tonight. You go to YouTube, it's plenty of stuff out there that you can watch, but we're not gonna get into that tonight. And the role was supposed to die similar to the way Florence Bellant died. And Birmingham's own Nell Carter was actually handpicked to be the original Effie White, but at that time she was doing Give Me a Break, so it was conflicted. And because Jennifer Holliday had already done Your Arms Are Too Short to Box of God, they brought her in on this. And in the initial process, she encouraged the writers and directors. She said, well, I just don't see Effie dying this way. I see her having her struggles, but I see her making a triumphant comeback. So
Mhm.
just to know that she fought for that and to see how phenomenal this role is, that says something. How do you think this role will speak to women? Because I'm sure we all can think about women that we know that have displayed some of the same struggles that Effie White has endured.
Absolutely. I definitely think that, we've, like you said, we've all had our struggles. I think this speaks to all of us, that, sometimes life throws you curveballs. Sometimes, you may have something that you feel like it's going to work out and it doesn't quite work out the way that it seems, but, life has a way of having some crooks and turns that you just, if you hang in there and you just keep fighting, you never know what the end is going to bring. So I think, the message is just hang in there and keep fighting. It'll prevail at the end.
Absolutely. So I know there's so many fun moments in this show and serious moments. Let's talk about some of y'all favorite scenes. And for this one, whoever wants to answer first, and then we'll go to the last person. It doesn't have to be a scene that you're in, just some of your most enjoyable moments from the show.
my favorite scene is what you just played, the "It's All Over" scene. Um, so I knew the theater show came first because I'm an '80s baby, so I knew that, but um, I had never seen it, So I did see the movie. So in the movie, that scene, it just, I don't know, it resonated with me. I think it's because I don't know, it's a conflict going on, and then there's Effie, who is trying to be heard, and they're tired of listening to her because they feel like she has all these excuses. But just the arrangement of that song, I love it. How everybody's singing together. That's the whole family is in that scene. Now, what's different is from the movie to the play. In the movie, Jimmy is not in that scene. So
Mhm.
when people see it in the show, they're like, "Wait a minute, this isn't right," you know. But yeah, that remains my favorite scene.
I think my favorite scene is um the final scene for those who have not seen it. And during the finale, the dreams, kind of give Effie her flowers. Well, they do. I would say they give Effie her flowers, and they allow her to come out, and they all sing together. So it's like a full circle kind of moment. And so I think that's my favorite scene. I think that's my favorite one.
I think my favorite by far is the whole opening sequence from, I guess, like the drum beat to the announcement to the stepsisters coming out, like that whole sequence. Because like not to give anything away to anybody who hasn't seen the show, but like everything is happening at once and it's happening all around you, and so that's just one of those moments where I love being a part of it, but I also wonder every single time what it's like to be in that audience because like you're getting the perspective of like Cece and the Dreamettes and Jimmy and Marty and all of us from like that backstage life, but then you also get to see like what's happening on stage and like a lot of the flips and things that happen within that. And like from the get go, it's just high energy. And that's one of my favorite ways to start a show.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, it's so many scenes that I like. One one of the scenes, Jimmy has like a lot of funny, crazy moments. However, one of my favorite scenes is I would like to say, I guess the dressing room scene
Mm.
when when everybody's there and everybody's everybody's tense already, about the moment to happen. And that's when previously we have that moment as we become a family.
Mhm.
And then that same family come back and is tore down in that moment. Um, the tension on the stage is so high in that moment with all of us, and we know what's coming, but we have to actually act like we don't know what's about to happen, even though we know it's going to happen.
Mhm.
um the funny thing about the fact of everything is happening in this particular moment, but I love to see the strength that Effie has in that moment. She's hiding a big secret of her life that she is, you know, of what's going on, and she kind of takes it. She don't take it with grace, but in the end, she does rebound with grace. I would like to say,
Mm.
because I was like, when we would go through our character, because I believe this is my, as Tracy said, this is my third time reprising Jimmy,
Mhm.
and I think this time I went into it with my eyes open, saying that I want to do this show totally different than I've ever done it before. And I think the directors and everybody kind of captured that because we kind of leave it all on the floor, literally. But but to see her hold this secret after all these things coming at her back to back to back to back, and she taking it on like a champ, boom, and she got a quick response to everybody. So that scene is one of my favorite scenes among many, you know.
Okay, so let's do it this way. And Cam, we'll start with you since you were the last to speak. We talked about favorite scenes. What would be your, you can only name one, what would be your favorite song from the production?
What is my favorite song? I Am Changing.
Hmm.
That's one of my favorite songs in the show. I mean, even my even the way I love the way Jennifer Holliday delivers that song. In the beginning, she delivers it so soft and so serene, and just very intimately, and then at the end, she lets you know that I have changed, even though the song is saying I am changing. She said, it's like I am changing. I'm here now. So that's one of my favorite songs in the show.
Okay, Tracy.
Karen took mine.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I am changing, and yes, for definitely for that reason. It just resonates with me. Just like a butterfly. She's just the way she started. Um, and by the end of that song, she's flying free.
Yeah,
She recognizes within herself the change that has happened, and I think she's able to kind of look back in hindsight and say, okay, well, I accept even the things that may have been because of me, but look at me, I'm changing. I accept that, and look at me now. And
yeah.
so, yeah, I love that song. Yeah.
Jalen.
I will say it is. I am changing. No, I had already had it in my head before you asked the question, and then Cameron said it first. But no, yeah, it for sure is. I am changing, and along the same lines of what both of them have said, like getting to watch that transformation of Effie and just that development she has, and like this is like the first song she sings in Act Two, and so like we have that jump, and she has the whole conversation before she sings the song, but like we really, and like I guess time wise, we haven't heard from her in a minute. And so for the first song she sings to be about how she's this new person and she's found this new love, like I guess that she finds from herself, like she doesn't need it from anyone else, she doesn't need the validation, and she finally just gets to sing how she wants to is just amazing to me. And just also watching her throughout the rest of the show find that kind of forgiveness is just, yeah, that song's my favorite.
Chris.
I'm going against the grain. So mine is "We Are Family."
Okay.
That's a beautiful song.
It is.
It resonates with me because the only blood members in this family is Cece and Effie. Everybody else, they're not related. So it resonates with me because they're a chosen family, and the chosen family that I have is what has gotten me through a lot of things. So it's a beautiful song. I mean, CC pretty much leads that song, and that is a great song. That's probably my favorite.
And I was sitting here thinking too, my favorite has to be I'm Changing. I've heard it sung said by several different people, even if they were just doing it as a soloist. Belinda George Peoples, we need to hear you sing that. Yeah, I'm calling you out. Um, but yes, it's just a powerful song. There's so many wonderful moments from this show. Like Cam has said, and they're saying in the comments, you just have to go see it. And again, don't go in with the mindset, well, I've seen the movie. I'm waiting on this. You're gonna be disappointed. I would say this is just like there's a difference between the Wiz, the Broadway version, and the movie. Several people, I'm like, no, you can't compare. So
Right.
this is one of those greats. As a matter of fact, for those of you who did not know, The Color Purple, they're coming out with the new movie. But here's the difference. If you have not seen the Broadway version of that, you will be lost. It is not the 1985 that we all grew up with Whoopi Goldberg, Danny Glover, Oprah Winfrey. You're going to see remnants from that, but this is one you need to try to catch. The Color Purple. I know it's in Atlanta a lot. You need to see the Broadway version before the movie comes out,
Yeah.
and you need to read the book because the Broadway version is more so based on the book. So do yourself a favor and do that. So I want to get in. I want to talk to all y'all about y'all characters, but I don't want to give everything away. But I do want to get into dialogue here since this is Black History Month. Let's talk about the importance of supporting Black actors and Black theater as a whole. I know that there are many great theater companies here, but I think too often Black theater companies and Black actors and actresses, a lot of times we don't really get the credit and the support that we deserve. And it's so many great stories from Birmingham. Annie Jo Edwards, Birmingham's own. She went on to Broadway to star in Ain't Misbehaving.
Mhm.
Ricky Powell, he starred in Broadway. It's so many great stories from Birmingham. You know, I was talking about Belinda George Peoples earlier. I think she's almost spanning a career of 38 years in theater. Her first show was Ain't Misbehaving. She's done wonderful shows. These are things that up and coming actors need to know, especially children. So, whoever wants to tackle it first, let's talk about the importance of keeping this thing going for our own. And this is nothing against, I know we have different races that may be watching. We celebrate all theater. This is not a slap in the face to say, you know, other ethnicities, what they put out aren't great, but it's the truth. You know, a lot of times what we put out in the Black community, a lot of times it isn't recognized, it doesn't get the support. And this is one of the reasons why I'm thankful that Roy and Terry allowed me to interview you all, because this is a production we need to see, because just like we're watching you now, you never know what can happen. You all may be called to Broadway, you all may be called to other cities to do other shows. So it's very important that we support our own homegrown talent. So whoever wants to tackle it first, again, the question is how important is that we do continue to support Black actors and Black actresses and Black theater as a whole.
Um, I'll start. I have a little short story about the first time that I did theater. The first time that I did Dreamgirls, which was my first professional show that I've done. And after the show, we usually go out and we, meet the people. And it was a little girl that was there. And she was a little Black girl. And her mom brought her to me and introduced her to me. And she just looked and she just cried. And I just gave her a big hug and I just held her. But that let me know, it solidified for me how important it is that the younger generation see people that look like them
Mhm.
doing what they dream about. I dreamt about doing this, never thought that I would find myself in this place to be actually doing this, because I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody that looked like me that did this. Didn't know anybody that came from where I came from doing this. And so it's very important that we share that, with the next generation, to let them know that it's possible. Whatever you want to do, it's possible. And it's important to have people that look like them doing this. And I will never forget that moment. Like, for the rest of my life, for the rest of my career, doing theater, acting in any capacity, I will never forget that. That children need to see, people need to see people that look like them on these stages. It's very important.
All right, we're not going to do any random order. Whoever wants to answer next, you can go ahead.
I would say it's vitally important. A lot of people don't understand how much African American art in the realm of theater is out there. Um, we have different places and different organizations in Birmingham that has tackled and continue to introduce those unheard of or untold pieces of art in theater. In Birmingham is one of them. You have, I think it's a Black Repertory Theater. You have Aldrich that's still out there doing particular, and they pull these unheard of, untold pieces of art that are jewels that we really never get a chance to see. And I applaud those particular people who do that. You have Red Mountain Theater and Virginia Sanford Theater and BFT and Terrific New Theater, all these particular places that pull out shows such as Dreamgirls or The Wiz or Crowns or Ain't Misbehaving, um, and some other um, particular pieces that tell the story of African American art um, in the realm of theater. Is very, very is still unheard of and untapped sources and untold stories of theater that is out there. I do applaud all those places: Red Mountain Theater, Virginia Sanford Theater, Terrific New Theater, BFT, Encore Gallery and Theater and I think it's Birmingham Black Repertory Theater as well as Aldrich for taking the chance and going against the grain and putting those particular jewels of shows out there that are written and performed by an all African American or Black cast. Is not often heard of or done, and it's still a lot of art to be introduced to our community at large. I mean, sometimes as a Black actor, we don't get a chance to do and portray our art and our talent in the realm of theater on a consistent basis.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? Even in Birmingham Children's Theater, they do a great job of telling those stories as well. Um, so for us to get an opportunity to showcase our talent and dive into these roles, we don't have a chance to exercise our chops on a consistent basis as American theater gets a chance to do on a consistent basis because our shows are pulled out very rarely, just to be quite frank and honest. Um, is it fair? No. However, we have to kind of get in where we fit in to a certain extent. So all of the Black writers, directors, choreographers, musicians, actors, singers, and dancers, we don't have an opportunity all the time to showcase our art in our element from our point of view and particular standard. Is so much talent here in Birmingham, as you talked about, and I'm gonna let it go about people that are homegrown talent. We talked about the Annie Jo Edwards and the Ricky Powers and Belinda George Peoples and Nell Carter's, but you have now Brandon McCall, who is on Broadway doing Lion King. You have Jordan Fisher, who is on Broadway doing, I forget the name of the show he's doing, but he's done a couple of pieces on Broadway. You have several others that are on Broadway tours, touring around the United States. So, I mean, however, it's great to do what we're doing now, and I don't want to put a damper on it. But however, yeah, as well as Eric Miller McCall in New York. Right now, we don't get a chance to spread our wings and do that on a consistent basis, and it's unfortunate. But we do appreciate, and I will personally say I appreciate the opportunities that we do get to showcase and stretch our legs out and do what we have to do um, in our hometown with the talent that we have here.
And Yvette Jones Bentley, thank you, T. Belinda. That's a
Yeah,
great one. So yeah, and one thing I would say, and I'm gonna go to Jalen then Chris. If you have a child that you see has a passion in the arts, please don't discourage them. Gonna say that again. If you have a child that has a passion in the arts, please don't discourage them. Let them be a part of where it's happening. Red Mount Theater Company, they do several wonderful workshops for youth. Children's Theater, Birmingham Children's Theater, they actually have opportunities. If you never know what your child can and will become. I think sometimes we try to let our children become what we want them to become, and you never know what that child can grow up to become. So please, ma'ams, please, sirs, let that child be a part of something. Church is great. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes there are children that are born to go beyond the church, and it's just a fact. All right, Jalen, go ahead. Same question.
Yeah. So I started theater and I started performance and all of that, I guess, to this scale with the goal to just inspire and influence and learn and just keep doing that at whatever, I guess, scale or whatever place it takes me. And so I'm always just being mindful of who is in the audience watching whatever show I'm doing, whether it be Dreamgirls, whether it be like any other show I've done in the past. Like I always just have that mindset because I carry that weight as like specifically a black male in theater of just being that example and being like a person that someone can see doing this exact thing because I didn't have those influences growing up in theater specifically. And so now being where I'm at, I'm seeing like the Jordan Fishers and the Brandon McCalls, and I'm having that motivation. And like I was lucky enough to go to New York last year and just kind of go and see shows. And I that brought out the little kid in me in a way because I was seeing a lot of those a lot of those black performers on stage. I went and saw Wicked. Anyone who's familiar with that show, like Glinda the Good Witch was a black woman. And that's something I'd never seen before. And so like seeing her come down for the first time in that site was just like mind blowing for me. And so I feel lucky enough to be at the age I'm at right now where I can still continue to build that influence and what I want it to look like. But it's extremely important, like you were saying, to motivate those kids. And I love to teach and I love to motivate and do all of those things. And so just being mindful of that and motivating all those children is really important.
Chris.
Um, yeah, just piggybacking off of what everybody has said. It is extremely important to keep black shows around. One to Cameron's point, they're just not consistent enough, and that is the biggest issue. And when you think about it, they're not consistent, but when they come around, they're nearly sold out. You know, so it's like you got to put two and two together. So um, it's extremely important. One thing, notably, this time that was a huge difference for me doing this show is that we had a black female director,
Oh yeah.
something that I had never experienced before, and it was a breath of fresh air. It was something new for Red Mountain, something new for this show, and it was new for all of us. So I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Actually, we had two. We had
Two,
the
two, two, two,
director
two.
and the
That's right.
co-director.
That's right. Director and
Um,
assistant director.
yeah,
Who's done the
Bossy
show
and
before?
Christy.
Right.
Awesome. And then to adults, if you get to the age, it's never too late to do anything. I don't care how old you are. I've had a chance to work with probably some of the best adult actors that were in their 50s and 60s. They just wanted to do it and they ended up being some of the greatest I've ever worked with. So even if that's you, you can reach out to me. And if I don't have any work, I'll definitely connect you with some people. If that's a passion you have, you're never too old or you're never too young, but you gotta get to where it's happening. You just have to. So we have about 10 more minutes left. This will be kind of a fun question. I want you to name one production that you have not yet starred in, but it will be a dream role for you. And we'll start with Cameron.
Funny. Contrary to popular belief, I have never done Amos Behaving, and I really want to do that show. I had an opportunity to do it. I think I want to say 2018, and I was torn between that one and Smokey Joe's Cafe at Red Mountain, and Amos Behaving was being done at VST. Um, but I ended up doing Smokey Joe's Cafe again, and I left it on the table. So yes, if I had the opportunity to do Amos Behaving, I would run at the opportunity to do it.
All right, Tracy.
Um, I would say, and I've done Color Purple before. I played the role of Sophia. But I would love to play Celie. I think that's probably one of my dream roles.
Jalen.
Ooh, let's see. I think recently, just looking at a ton of the shows that are running specifically in the industry, I love Lion King. Oh, I love Lion King. That would, like, Simba specifically would be a really fun one. That or Hamilton. Those, like, top two
Hamilton.
right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, Chris.
For me, this group was one of my mom's favorite groups. The majority of them are from Birmingham. They're one of my favorite old time groups. So I would love to be in Ain't Too Proud, the Life and Times of the Temptations.
Ah,
I love the Temptations, so I would love. I don't care who I will be cast as. I just want to be in the show.
And by the way, for those of you who've been asking, that show is coming to Huntsville in August. I'll go ahead and post those dates. So we just have to support theater. And someone actually texted me. I never thought about it. What would be a dream show that I like to direct? Yes, I have. That would be the Raising the Musical. That's a show you don't hear a lot of, but that's
hmm
actually a musical version based off the Raising the Sun. Very good production. So, in our last few moments, tell us why we gotta come see the show or why they gotta come see the show because I already got my tickets. I went playing with the thing. But
not many out there at all.
right,
Can I say this real quick? There might be a little birdie said that we may be having an extra show. So if we might have an extra show, y'all need to be on the lookout to get tickets because we could potentially have an extra show.
and then here's the thing we don't talk about this. Just because you've gone for one show, go see another show. You don't realize in live theater what you may see in one show, you may not see in another
That
show.
is the truth.
Right.
I used this example several times, and I'm sure some of you all who were there were watching. We did a 3-day show. I think that was 2014 or 2015 of I'll Be Home for Christmas. Never thought in a million years, and that was me early starting out, that two of my actors, I'm not going to call their names, Warren Mars and Therese Daniels, I never thought that the scene would get so engrossed that they would push each other. Thankfully, thanks to my amazing prop team, we thought enough to do a scene change and place a recliner. Well, one of them was pushed so that he actually landed on the recliner. Had that recliner not been there, it could have been a different story. So yeah, you never know what you can get doing live theater. There are several stories I can tell. I've seen wigs fall off that were not planned to fall off. So yeah, if you've seen the show, do yourself a favor and get you another ticket to another day. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was an extra day. But yeah, let's talk about why they need to come see the show.
I would say they need to come see the show because it's thoroughly entertaining. I would say we have all, we have all made these characters real. You're gonna come in and the thrill is there. You can you're gonna laugh, you're gonna be excited, you're gonna scream, you're gonna holler, you're gonna cry, you're gonna shed a tear, um, you're gonna be angry. Every emotion that I believe you can possibly feel, you're gonna feel it in this show. You're gonna feel the warmth and the love at the moments. You're also gonna feel the rage of those particular moments. And I think more so in other times in this particular show, you'll get a snapshot of each character, not just their voice. But I think we've made a positive point and a what's the word I'm trying to say? I think we've take what's the
Made a
word?
conscious effort.
Yeah, we made a conscious effort to show you these characters. Of course, you're going to get the concert and the songs that they deliver, but you'll actually get a chance to see in a snapshot the story behind the story real quickly of each particular character, I think.
And you see how Marty just had Jimmy's back right there. That's that
Hi,
whole
Marty.
that whole shoe in the show. So we, um, you know, the director wanted us to each day get to know something about somebody we be in a scene with. So we had to develop this relationship off stage so that we could have an authentic relationship on stage. So
Mhm.
for me, I think that they need to come see the show because I mean it is a monster of a show, man. Like it constantly moves.
Say it
It doesn't
again for the
stop.
people in the back.
Right. Like it doesn't stop. I mean you have to pay attention, you have to keep up because we're keeping up, so you gotta keep up. There's
Right.
stuff going on in the foreground, in the background, up top, down low. You gotta just see, hey, you gotta come see it.
And once you see it, once you come to see the show, it's very special. The thing that makes live theater so special is that once you do it this certain way, it builds from that point. So you'll never do it that way again.
Mhm.
And so you're getting to see something exclusive because we're people, and we're imperfect. So however we do it, you can never do it that exact same way again. It's going to be something different every single night, you know. So, just keep that in mind that when you see it, it'll never you've seen it like that only once, and that's the only time you'll ever see it like that because you
Right.
can't duplicate it exactly the same.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, kind of going off of what Cameron was saying, and also Basti, our director, was kind of telling us at one point, like this show, it's about relationships, and so I think people should come see the show because it celebrates Black relationships, whether that be love, whether that be friendship, whether that be family, and you kind of see all of those relationships fall apart. You see some come back together, and like everyone pretty much has said, it's real. I feel like everyone in the cast either relates or is in love with this show in some form or fashion.
Mhm.
Therefore, you're getting so much more heart and soul and energy and love out of this show from like any I've ever seen. And so I just motivate people to come see the show because everything's being left on the stage. Like we said, it's a monster, and that is no exaggeration from I guess like ensemble track 1000 to Effie and through. Everybody is just moving and going, and the momentum, it rarely stops. And even when like a slow song might be going, somebody's screaming the face off, and so like the momentum just it goes
Mhm.
throughout. And so I I think I would come for the love, I would come for the energy, and I would come for the passion that's on the stage.
Can I say one more thing? I,
Sure.
I and I said this amongst us, but I've appreciated working with this cast in particular because everybody's giving 110%. I don't think I have worked, and this is an inside behind the scene thing, where everybody in the cast is comfortable in their skin and they want to be doing the part that they're doing. No matter, there is no little I's and no big U's. We depend on everybody in this
Mhm.
will in this show. And when I say you got like Chris, myself, Tracy, Jalen, these people, a majority of this cast, we have full-time jobs,
Mhm.
daytime jobs and some of us are still in school getting our masters and getting our bachelors, and um, people are still auditioning and on Zoom calls and Zoom auditions. Some people are from New York. So this is a love and a passion for the arts that we have. Thank God, God has blessed us with these gifts and talents that we have that we can share to these people, that these people can come in and forget about their day or what's going on in the world and get lost into an art or the passion that we have to share with them. Because like Tracy said, we're giving everyone that comes, those 470 some odd seats, we're giving you a piece of us. Whenever you open your mouth to sing or to recite something, you share a piece of yourself, maybe writing musically or whatever, playing an instrument or whatever. But that's been a joy for me in this process. This cast is a family. and you feel it, you see it, and I've enjoyed the process, and we've just got started. We got 2 more weeks to go, and this show is sold out. The pressure is on, people.
Quick shout out to the crew, stage design, light design,
Yes, it's
Yes.
phenomenal.
people, like the mic
Costuming,
people.
yeah, the
Y'all, like
band.
it takes everybody. It's not just us. It takes everybody. So shout out to
Everybody.
everybody working behind the scenes.
And it actually took everybody to put
It
this show.
did.
It's a beast.
Absolutely.
I mean, they had to come out the nooks and crooks and crannies to get it up, and it became a family effort. So I mean,
And
every,
thankfully, this time, so another thing that's special for me is that we're able to put the show on in a bigger space instead of the cabaret. So it feels different. We're able to have a bigger set. It just feels totally different. So that's another reason. If you've ever seen us do it in the past, come and see it now because we
yeah,
can do more
it's
stuff.
finally on a stage worthy
Right,
of it. I would say.
right.
Well, I want to thank all of you for coming on, and I also want to commend all of you because I've been a director and a writer for time now, and it's not easy. It is not easy. I think if the audiences knew what went on in rehearsals and behind the scenes, even the day of the shows, preview shows, they would have a greater respect for the arts.
Oh
But
yeah,
before we end tonight, I would encourage everyone watching tonight in honor of Black History Month, please pick, and I'll name them, please pick a theater company to support. And I'm not making this about me because I'm just one umbrella. We have so many people here, and these people didn't ask me to do this, but tonight I want to salute Mark Raby, Rudy Richardson, Vivian Williams Murray, Allison Sanders, and I think that's all that I know of that are currently writing. Some are going into greater avenues such as producing movies. We can't do this by ourselves. And so you're hearing it from my mouth. As long as I have opportunities, y'all will always be on the stage. So I'm proud of what you all are doing and what you all will continue to do. And ladies and gentlemen, please, please, please support homegrown talent. I can't stress that enough. And so the ticket link is on the page. Don't ask me Saturday. A ticket's still available and they sold out. Because I'm gonna say we were on almost an hour and we talked about this show. I kept the ticket link up. So if you miss it, I am sorry. And also I do want to give kudos to Alabama State. It's funny. They were actually doing an extended run when you all were starting on last week. They did the
yeah, they
show
did. Yeah,
I
they were.
think in December, and due to conflicts, I wasn't able to make that one, but I've heard nothing but great things about their show as well. So before we end tonight, being this Black History Month, I do want to leave you out with one of my favorite quotes by Mrs. Coretta Scott King. Struggle is a never ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn it and you win it in every generation. And we will be back Monday at our regular scheduled time of 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tonight was a special night, and I did want to make sure that we give these actors and actresses voice to talk about the show. So thank you all for joining. And as we say in the theater world, break a leg. And ladies and gentlemen, have a great evening.
Thank you for having us.
You're
Thank
welcome.